Hey guys, now that Antenolla Extreme has come to global, the next trial on the list coming to global should be Scorn of Dark Shiva and Dark Golem. So I'm going to be going to this fight on the Japanese server and previewing it. We're going to be doing not really a slow clear, but we're going to be going through a clear that does not use the immunity strategy, and we're not using Tifa. There are other ways to do this fight involving like Tifa, setting up a one-shot, gearing your team to take 0 damage the entire fight. But we're going to be going a little bit differently. I'm going to be going for like more of a slow traditional clear. And we're going to be using Faisalus and Charlotte, the combo unit. They're a free unit. Their damage is not super high. But I'm going to be using them mostly because they can very easily gear each of their DPS forms completely differently. So we're going to be gearing one of their versions to kill Shiva and one of their versions to kill Golem. Now you can use any Neovision unit you want for this. You can take like Neovision's Cloud and gear one form in Stone Killer with Wind, one form in Human Killer with Fire. But we're going to be using this unit just as a preview. Anyway, we're going to be using Cecil. Now because we're not going for the full immunity strategy, he does need some bulk against magic. So he's got, a little bit of spirit and hit points, a little bit lowish because I want to get him to 200% to ice and dark resist after a buff. Because just for my own lazy mode, I'm going to be staying in his dark form for the majority of the fight. I geared for 100% ice without a buff, and we'll be using his dark form buff to give the other missing dark resist to himself. Now the whole team also needs to have 100% earth resist after a buff. We're going to be using Cecil's 80% Earth buff, so we only need 20% Earth on the team. So here's, the gear he's using. We're going to use Aerith for mana regen, healing, raise, and magical mitigation. The big thing she's going to be providing is magic mitigation. We've also given her Bushido freedom to dispel imperils from the team, which we're only going to have to do 3 times in the fight when Golem does his threshold. We're not going to bother with the Shiva imperils. But that's Aerith's job. Renora is for Mirage. Technically, 1 Mirage is technically enough. Double Mirage is a little bit easier, but 1 is all you really need. And he's going to be doing stat buffs. That's really it. Mirage and stat buffs. Nothing else. Vaughn is going to be our passive provoke evasion tank. I gave him the super ribbon because he's going to be eating charm as well, so he needs charm immunity. You can use a buff for it. It's easier if you just gear for immunity. If you don't have the super ribbon because you missed that event, you can use the Locks TMR, or you can just provoke with someone naturally charm immune. Now he's going to want 100% earth resist without a buff because he's going to be taking zombie as well and getting killed and raised, and he might lose his buff. So preferably he wants 100% evasion and provoke and earth resist without a buff. He'll be also our breaker and our wind and our fire imperil. And this is Faisalus and Charlotte. This is the base form we've geared in Stone Killer. We've got a wind weapon equipped, so we're going to be doing wind damage to Golem, and she's got 250 Stone Killer. And that's that form. And then the shift form we've geared with a fire weapon to be killing Shiva. And there's the gear, and she's got 255 human killer. And then we're taking Trags, Faisalus and Charlotte, same thing. Base form has a wind weapon, and it is geared for maxed out on Stone Killer, perfect. And here's the rest. And then the shift form is geared with a fire weapon for killing Shiva. And looks like lots of human killer. We've got maxed out human killer. Perfect. Let's do it. So there's going to be an ambush where Golem puts up cover for the team, and then Shiva charms your provoker. So Vaughn is wearing the immunity ribbon. He's fine. So because Cecil can't buff earth resist in his base form, he's got to change stances. So we're going to change stance and cover. But we don't have earth resist yet. I should have mentioned. Vaughn is on Titan to do a 70% earth resist buff. So we're going to buff that with Vaughn. Now Renora is going to double Mirage and do a buff and mitigation. Aerith is going to... we're going to go ahead and put up a barrier on the 2 DPS because they're not immune to damage yet. And we're going to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, we're staying in base form. Base form is going to be hitting Golem. So we're going to break real quick because Vaughn was busy this turn. And we're just going to chain on Golem. Now, Golem does have cover. Oh, we almost pushed the threshold. Wow. But there we go. So one of the third attack is going to hit the team. Okay, mine was a little bit short on Earth Resist. We only used a 70% buff on that first turn. But now that Cecil is in his Dark form, we can do an 80% Earth Resist buff. So we're just going to buff. We're going to mana regen. And we're going to stay in this form for a while. I'm setting him up for lazy mode repeat. Vaughn is now going to break the boss. And we're going to Wind Imperil. He wasn't imperiled yet. Renor can just repeat pretty much every turn. We're going to Mirage and stat buff. Aeris is going to just do mana regen every turn. And let's go ahead and DPS on Golem. So we're probably going to push the threshold here, if I had to guess. The thresholds on Golem are 80, 60, and 40, I think. Let me confirm. I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, 80, 60, and 40. Alright, so let's go ahead and chain on Golem. He's very weak to wind, so we did a lot of damage there. We pushed 2 thresholds. So here's the threshold. Golem does a earth attack, then it imperils. It imperils after the attack. But now that we're imperiled, so the whole team is imperiled to earth, and he's going to do another threshold right now. So we need to get rid of that imperil. So we're going to use Aerith to Bushido Freedom, and we're going to hit our own team with it. It's going to deal a little bit of damage, not much, we're fine. But we dispelled all our buffs and the imperil, so you need all the buffs reapplied. So we're going to do resist with, we're going to do resist with Cecil, and then just mana regen and put up cover again. Let's see, Renora will give us double Mirage and stats. And Vaughn can, you know, do whatever. He's just going to imperil and... Oh, the boss is immune. Because of the threshold, they go immune for 1 turn. So we actually can't hurt the boss this turn. So we'll just break and imperil. Like I said, we can't hurt the boss, so we'll just guard. And the reason Cecil's taking so much damage is because he's actually using his mana regen, which consumes his health. He's actually not getting hit with anything. It's just he's hurting himself. So there's the zombie on Vaughn. Remember I mentioned we're going to be getting zombied every now and then? Vaughn is now zombied from Shiva. The boss did a threshold again. He's immune to damage again, so we can't hurt him. But we got imperiled again. So once again, we're going to use Aerith to Bushido our own team. Okay, we've been dispelled. So once again, we're going to put up... I'm going to stop using the regen on Cecil. We're going to put up resist and cover again. We will put up Mirage and stats. And they're immune for damage again, so we just wait it out. And Vaughn can just repeat. Keep the brakes up. Okay, so the next threshold is at 40%. And the zombie on Vaughn, because we're not using any healing, I'm just like ignoring the zombie, like who cares? I'm just leaving it there. I could kill Vaughn and raise him, blah blah blah, but I mean, him being zombie is not really a problem right now, so we're just ignoring it. But the boss is finally vulnerable to damage, so we can actually hurt him again. Now this cover, I think I mentioned earlier, this cover can be dispelled if you'd rather damage Shiva first. Also, if you use cover ignoring attacks, for example, Pyroglacial Lastwell's Chain ignores cover anyway, you can DPS Shiva through the cover, but we're killing Golem first in this strategy. So we're going to go ahead and chain on Golem again with our wind damage. Okay, next threshold's been pushed. So again, we're just going to get, you know, thresholds and all. So we'll just use Aeris to refill mana. Cecil will just keep the resist up. This, we'll just keep all these breaks going and whatever. Threshold again. Oh, and your Provoker gets dispelled a whole lot as well. You notice Vaughn's getting dispelled like almost every other turn. That's from Shiva, and that's the reason Vaughn, we wanted to give him 100 Earth Resist without a buff. So technically, we're still imperiled, but because the boss is not going to be doing any more cover ignoring attacks, those are only on thresholds, we actually don't need to dispel our imperil anymore. We could, but there's no point, so we're not going to. But we are going to be getting to a threshold once the boss dies soonish, so we're going to go ahead and use Aeris to kill off Vaughn here. Before we do that, Vaughn will reapply his Imperil one time. Okay, so we're going to raise twice, which kills Vaughn, brings him back, and the zombie has been removed. We can't hurt the boss this turn, so we'll just guard. Renor will Mirage, and Cecil will just do his thing. Alright. So after this turn, we can finally hurt the boss. There's no more thresholds on Golem. Okay, let's go ahead and finish Golem off. Now, this is important. When you finish off Golem, the attack pattern on Shiva will change. Let's go ahead and finish Golem before we do anything. Okay, now we need to start taking the boss a little bit more seriously. We're going to go ahead and break the boss with... We're going to break Shiva, because now she's going to start dealing non-elemental and magical damage, and she's going to start doing physical damage later. The physical damage is irrelevant because we're still using Renora to put up mitigation and such. But now we need to start making sure Aerith keeps, let's see, keeps magical mitigation up for Cecil, and Cecil is now going to start changing stance every single turn. I think when Golem first dies, Shiva just does some attacks that don't do anything special. It's like a threshold thing. Yeah, next turn she'll start doing regular attacks. Oh no, she did it this turn. Okay, yeah, she's mad. And she's going to be draining Vaughn's mana every now and then, too, which is exciting. And Vaughn has Zombie yet again. We love Zombie. I'm pretty sure we can't hurt her this turn. I'm not sure. We'll try. I think she's immune to damage this turn. So we're going to go ahead and shift our DPS. And so now we're in the... Whoops. Glitchy bug. Now we're in her her shift form, which is wearing a fire weapon, and we're geared for human killer. Let's try to hurt the boss if we can. I think she's immune. Yeah, she's immune to damage this turn. I thought she was. Okay, so Vaughn has no mana. This is a little irritating with Vaughn not having mana. I guess we can't refresh the breaks this turn. That's fine. We'll use Eris to kill Vaughn and then raise him. That also heals up Cecil. I guess that didn't heal Cecil. Or didn't raise Vaughn. That was a shame. Alright, so we're going to raise Vaughn with Cecil and change targets. And then Renora will just put up stats and dodge. Okay. There's a Dispel and a Charm. Some non-elemental damage on Cecil. Yeah, it's kind of painful. Okay, now we can hurt the boss again. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alright, let's see here. We're going to do this. And double chain. I should have done this last turn. And double chain. Let's go ahead and do that before I do anything else. We push the threshold on Shiva. I think, let me see Shiva's thresholds. Shiva's thresholds are 80, 50, and 30. Yeah, we push the threshold on her. She can go immune to damage next turn and everything. What a big headache. Let's go ahead and break her with Vaughn. Let's have Cecil do resist, change stance, and cover. We will use Eris to heal, and oh, we need mitigation. Let's do mitigation on Cecil, and let's heal him. And Renora can... Let's have Renora do his LB. For even bigger stat buffs, mostly for Cecil. Alright, so every threshold, the boss goes immune to damage, so she's immune to damage again. Some threshold stuff, some charm. Non-elemental damage. She's immune to damage again, very exciting. So we're going to just guard our DPS. Come on, Cecil. We'll just guard. We'll do bigger breaks. Cecil will change stance and, I don't know, do a resist. Renor will dodge and stats, and Eris Let's go ahead and heal Cecil and do break curing. Alright, so we can damage the boss again next turn, or this turn coming up. Oh, that's right. The boss puts up, what's it called? A 1000% fire and wind resist buff, I think. I'll actually double check in 1 second. I think she only does that when golems... No, she does it on thresholds. Yeah, we've got to dispel that. Okay, so we're going to use Ares to dispel that. Let's see here. Where's dispel? Ares is silenced. She can't cast. I never gave her silence immunity. Are you kidding me? I didn't give Ares silence immunity. She can't cast a spell. Okay, we're gonna have to use an item. I think there's no items allowed on the mission, but whoopsie, I didn't give her silence immunity. That was just my mistake. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and Imperil Fire and break. And we'll use the DPS to chain. I guess we'll do... Let's see. Did Treg ever level the LB? He did to 30. That's good enough. So we're going to use the LB on her, and then we're going to use mine to tag chain. Alright, so we're going to tag, and then we're going to use the LB. Alright, we actually pushed 2 thresholds. A little irritating. Whatever. Chain stand. And the boss is going to start doing the physical attacks now. I keep clicking everything. Alright, let's do some racial mitigation to humans. Because I didn't heal Cecil. I'm doing this really sloppily. Yeah. So there's going to be some AoE physical attacks. And AoE magic and all that threshold stuff. Cecil got hit. We got zombie as well. She's going to do a threshold again. Let's go ahead and have Ares heal and magic mitigate, which is going to kill Vaughn. Cecil will raise Vaughn, because Vaughn got zombie. Raise and change targets, or change stance. We'll guard because of the threshold. Mirage and stats. And now the 30% threshold is right here. There's the physical attack I mentioned. We're miraging it. Cecil's taking some hits. Okay, so he's immune to damage again. Yeah, this damage immunity is like a super big headache. It's so much damage immunity. So many turns that you can't hurt the boss. Enormous headache. Let's go ahead and break her. Let's put up all this. Let's have Renora do dodge and physical mitigation, or mitigation against humans. Let's have Aerith do a heal and a break immunity. We'll do the LB buff for the trainers. And damage mitigation should go away this turn. There's the physical attack. We mirage it. There's the non-elemental. Cecil gets hit. A lot of elemental attacks. He immunes. Okay. And once again, because of the threshold, the boss has this 1000% resist buff to fire and ice. Or fire and wind. So we need to get rid of that with our silenced healer. Vaughn will Imperil Fire and break the boss again. And we'll go ahead and LB with my guy. And we'll tag chain with her. So we'll tag, then we'll LB with mine, which is also a tag chain. And there it is, we win. 14 turns. So that was 14 turns of damage, or fighting, but it was more like 5 turns of fighting and 10 turns of standing around waiting on damage immunity to wear off. Now you can use things like Tifa and just burst these guys down. I'll probably do a clear like that on Global, but I wanted to show a clear that didn't rely on Tifa, because I know myself and a lot of others don't like Tifa. You prefer doing trials, you know, the not really the proper way, but the slow way where you don't just cheese it with Tifa. But that fight can be cheesed with Tifa if you so choose to. Anyway, I'll see you guys for this fight when it actually comes to global. Later.